Crypto company FTX went bankrupt and lost billions of dollars of customer deposits, and now esport organization TSM could be in trouble. That is the subject of today's video. Given that I have a traditional finance and economics education, after researching the situation, my personal opinion is that not only was the failure of FTX predictable, I think it may have been inevitable. I'm going to cover why that is as briefly as I can in this video. In part 2, which I'm publishing as a second video, I'll discuss why I think the failure of FTX could negatively impact the esport organization TSM. FTX is a company that helps its customers trade cryptocurrencies and cryptocurrency derivatives. FTX was trying to make crypto go mainstream through advertising such as through celebrity sponsors like Tom Brady. It also entered into a $210 million sponsorship deal with TSM, hence the name change to TSM FTX. This appears to have been its largest sponsorship deal. Hypothetically, let's assume that cryptocurrencies aren't a scam and are not valued primarily based on the greater fool theory. So let's compare FTX to a traditional financial institution like your local bank or brokerage. According to University of Chicago economist Douglas Diamond, who won the Nobel Prize in Economics in 2022, bank runs are a Nash equilibrium, which in layman's terms means that they are a self-fulfilling prophecy. The government can help prevent a bank run by regulating and monitoring banks and other financial institutions and safeguarding customer deposits. Let's look at what happens when the government doesn't do this. If customers with deposits in a bank think the bank is going to fail, the bank will fail. For example, let's say customer A has $10,000 deposited with a bank and he thinks the bank is going to fail. Logically, customer A should withdraw his money so he doesn't lose his $10,000. Let's say customer B also has $10,000 on deposit but didn't previously think the bank was going to fail. It may still be rational for customer B to withdraw his money, since if customer A withdraws, it could weaken the financial strength of the bank. So basically, if customers of a bank think it is going to fail, the customers withdraw their money, which actually can cause the bank to fail even if it actually wasn't going to fail initially. So without government regulation, monitoring, and other safeguards, even the strongest financial institution in the world can fail because of negative perception. In a sense, perception is reality. Customer deposits are like short-term debt since there is withdrawal on demand in most cases, but the bank typically invests those customer deposits in longer-term investments that are inherently less liquid. Less liquid in this case means that the assets that the bank invests in, like a mortgage, take longer to sell, and thus if they try to sell the assets quickly, they won't get a good price, and thus the bank could incur losses. So if the bank has mass withdrawals, it may have to sell a lot of illiquid assets at a loss, and those losses can cause the bank to fail since the losses can prevent the bank from giving money back to its customers. So FTX appears to have failed in part due to the equivalent of a bank run. To facilitate cryptocurrency transactions like a brokerage account at Fidelity, E-Trade, etc., customers had cash and crypto coins deposited with FTX. This may have seemed like a good idea to its customers since FTX apparently paid high interest rates on those deposits according to this article. In order to pay this high interest rate, according to media reports, FTX purchased investments with the client deposits, which is not that different from a traditional financial institution so far. However, the problem was that unlike a traditional financial institution, the crypto market is much less regulated and monitored, and there are fewer safeguards on customer deposits like FDIC deposit insurance. In the case of a traditional bank, the government monitors what investments the bank buys to make sure those assets are not too risky. The government is supposed to make sure the bank can pay back its customers. According to the Wall Street Journal, FTX lent a lot of its customer deposits to a related hedge fund type company called Alameda. Alameda appears to have made bad investments and lost a lot of this money. Some customers with deposits at FTX apparently got a case of the jitters and asked for their money back. It appears that FTX couldn't give their money back, and thus there was a bank run and FTX went bankrupt. In part 2 of this video, I'll discuss the potential negative implications of the failure of FTX on esport organization TSM.